table. Back then, Kong Kong used to drive a red Toyota Corolla, which we all term it as Red Poo Poo, in which whenever I saw his car come up, I would get so excited because my grandpa was here. He would always bring those packed mee-hoon that he bought from the convenience store near him, and would always make sure to get some for my mom, my dad, and myself. In return, he would request for a very simple drink, teh C. Kong Kong was a very reckless driver back then. Ooh, Kong Kong. I remember when I would follow him in his car and he would go at supersonic speed. He was indeed a very fast driver. There were times when I was holding on for dear life. It was very necessary because he was swerving left and right and on the center of the road. And with that came one of my favorite memories, which was driving him, the last hangout I had with him. That was the first time I drove him, and I must say, I was scared. But all he told me was, the car very slow to move, right? I will never forget spending the whole morning driving him around to get snacks, go out to eat, and bringing him to places which rekindles his memory. I also remember those times when Kong Kong and I would share a room together while traveling, which taught me, well, maybe it wasn't such a good idea, because he starts his day even before the sun starts his day. I will remember the first time I shared a room with him in Labuan. When I woke up to the sound of a little teaspoon hitting against a cup, ting tong, ting tong, ting tong. And when I opened my eyes to see the time, it was around 3 in the morning. And yes, while I wanted to go back to sleep, he dropped the bombshell. There's ghosts in the room! Prank or not, but that comment surely made me fall back asleep only 2 hours later. There were other trips that I managed to share a room with him, and each time I did, I would be met with Kong Kong's daily activities. And yes, that involved me having a blanket over my body while he turned off the aircon, and I woke up 4 hours later drenched in sweat. And another time when he put so much oil that when I woke up, the smell got onto me that I started smelling like him. Regardless, I will really miss these adventures that we had together, because some way or another, Kong Kong would bring out his humorous side. And that is something that I would miss a lot. Kong Kong, this one's for you.
Slideshow, I found out quite a lot about our late Kong. You know, I didn't know that he also enjoyed to sit, but he sits where you sit also, near the sound system. And very similar. And how I noticed that, and I remember through all the memories that we have of him, that he was always very generous with his jokes and his laughter. Sometimes a bit, don't know whether it's a joke or not, when he would stick out his lower teeth feathers to make us laugh, and it didn't work, you know. But I think Kong was always like a staple presence in every dinner, every event. So he will be sorely missed. I would like to share a story also, like Nathan's lovely driving story. For Nathan, it was mee-hoon. For us, it was like fresh fruits every other week, coming mangoes from our auntie's garden, or bananas made him think of us when he went to the tamu, you know. And he did that for all of the siblings and all the grandkids. And for me, my last proper conversation with him was actually talking about the tattoos and how he wanted some, and we were like, yes. All the cousins were like, yes, and then the older ones were like, no. But you know, we humored him, we laughed about it, and then he whispered, he's like, you take me, okay, next time. I'm like, okay. I did not. So he,
you know, we were all under her care and her charge, and we were living in Jalan Tutong Batu Dua near to Uncle Charlie Kisbury. Uncle Charlie Kisbury, as you all know. We grew up there, beautiful place to grow up, hey, mountains and waters. The hills are alive. Okay, we love the place and we love Grandma's house, and we grew up together. And because we all lived there, my parents lived in that house. This belongs to my father's eldest sister, and they all call my dad Acek, you see. So we also follow lah. Say Acek also, and our parents never stopped us. You see, I think they did, but we probably didn't bother, you know, because our cousins were pets, you know. Ironically, my brother and my sister-in-law were the only ones who addressed my father as Pa or Papa, ironically, or as we call him, Acek, okay? Right? But for this eulogy, I will address him rightfully as Dad. Dad was born in 1937, he's 87 years old now, to my ama, who was a local Bruneian native lady from Kampung Lupak Luas, and a Chinese trader from mainland China. I think Swatao or something, right? Am I right? I know you sent me something, I didn't have time to decipher it. It's all in Chinese. Okay, but I think it's Swatao. Okay, Dad is from mainland China. He came by the sea routes, and he landed in Kampung Lupak Luas, which is somewhere across the Brunei River to the Sungai Kebun area, now made accessible by the Repas Bridge. Okay, if you go to Lupak Luas, you see this Chinese cemetery, right? Yeah, I think that was historically where the Chinese people coming in using the sea routes, they landed there, and there he met a beautiful young native woman, my grandmother. Okay, right. Life was pretty difficult for them due to the Japanese occupation in the early 1940s. Dad told me his father contracted malaria during the Japanese occupation, and due to the inaccessibility to medical treatment, Grandpa died. We never seen Grandpa. Dad was only 10 years old. Okay? Dad was not a perfect parent. For that matter, none of us are, right? Dad had no fatherly role model to learn the skills of parenthood from. Dad did not finish primary school. He only studied a few short years in Chung Hua Middle School. Bun Tiong, isn't it? That's what it's called, right? In Banda. He worked, as a result of him not having education, he worked as a truck driver, delivering stones, gravel, and sand to construction sites. From young, I recall that he liked to repair and service his own truck and car. For an uneducated person, he knew the intricacies and mechanics of how a car or a truck works. When one of our cars needed some major repair works to be done, he would give his diagnosis of what was wrong and what the mechanic should do and not do. Very irritating sometimes. He would rattle off names of the car parts in English, much to my amazement. Absorber is Oxorber. Okay? Absorber is Oxorber or something like that. Alignment is I don't know what else, okay? Although he did not have much schooling, he wanted all of his 5 children to be educated. He put me and my eldest brother to study in St. George's School, just across the road here in the late 1960s. My last 3 siblings, he put them to St. Andrew's School to study. Okay. It was tough on him to pay our monthly school fees, but I want to record my heartfelt gratitude to the St. Andrew's School Board for granting my 3 siblings who were studying in St. Andrew's School big financial assistance in the form of bursary awards until they left for government school for their secondary education. Although Dad could never monitor and guide us in our studies due to his educational background and work, I'm sure he was always very concerned about our studies all the time. Dad was a handsome man. Okay, when I was in Penang during this, knowing that he passed on, they showed me a draft of the obituary, and it was a very not complimentary picture of Dad. I said, wait for me to come back. I know that this one picture, which we used for his 80th birthday celebration, that I want to put there. That's that picture, okay, with a spectacle and a smile. Okay, so Dad was a handsome man, and I was told by Auntie Florence recently that she considered Dad to be the Elvis of Brunei in the 1960s. I didn't see that hair like that though. Elvis has got that, right? Okay, Dad was always smiling, as you can see from the picture, easy-go-lucky, generous, and talkative. You all heard about his generosity, mihun, fruits. Sometimes, lately, he would ask our driver, we have a full-time driver, he asked our driver to deliver, together with him, to my second brother's house, bananas. And my driver said the bananas were already overripe. But somehow, I do not know how you just accept it right willingly, never mind, it's from the heart, no matter how overripe and rotten. Okay. And talkative, Dad is very talkative. He could chat with anybody. When he met the nurses or doctors who attended to him, whenever he went for his scheduled appointments or medical checkups, he would ask them where they are from and who their parents are, you know. That's how friendly he is, sometimes a little bit balula. He could also be stubborn and very independent. Do you know all this medication, his maintenance medication?
Left side service for the brother Ket Khiong. 让我们来背诵使徒圣经 Let us recite Apostles' Creed.
Ready semua?
Okay.
Yeah, info.
She doesn't recognize me. These people are professional. They've been doing it every so often.